Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gotta Get Running. I'm Phil Hargis. It's good to see you again. Alongside of me is Chris Farley, Pacers Running Store, and Mike Wardian of Hoka 11, UVU.
Yeah,
Marathon.
bunch of places.
Bunch of great places.
And of Gotta Get Running. He's been a host of our show a number of times, so glad to have you along.
Thanks.
Today. And Phil, I see you've got your Boston Marathon shirt, and I want to get right into it because we're very excited about this guest that we have on today. Joining us from Boston via telephone, Skype.
Via cell phone.
Via cell phone is
You're
Dave.
getting excited in the background
Dave McGillivray, the race director of the Boston Marathon. Dave, how you doing?
Gentlemen, good to be on your show.
Hey, man. Well, it's great to have you on here, Dave. Thanks for joining us. I know it's a busy time of the year for you right now. As we tape this show, we're about less than 3 weeks out from the running of the Boston Marathon there on Patriots Day. And I know that a lot of runners out there, more runners than usual on an annual basis, are getting excited about running this race. I know Mike Wardian here will be running the race in a couple weeks here. And it's an exciting time for all runners of all skill levels at this time of year.
And I want to do a proper intro of Dave here. Why don't you do that?
Dave,
a list of things here.
We do have to properly introduce you here. Dave McGillivray, for you folks, not in addition to being the race director of the Boston Marathon, he's run across America from the West Coast to the East Coast. Mm-hmm. He's run up and down the entire East Coast. He's run 129 marathons. He's run 41 Boston marathons, 8 Kona Ironmans. He's run for 24 hours. He's swam for 24 hours, and he's done all that for charity. And in addition, in 2005, he was inducted into the Running USA Hall of Champions. Competitor Magazine recognized him with their Lifetime Achievement Award in 2000. He was voted Race Director of the Year by Road Race Management in 2007. He was a hero of running by Runner's World Magazine, and in 2011, he was inducted into the USA Triathlon Hall of Fame. And he's also an author, folks. He's the author of a book called The Last Pick, and he's also got his own company, DMSE. So, Dave, that's quite a resume you have there over an incredible running career.
And all that being said, how did you get into, I believe your first Boston Marathon was 1973. Can you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, it was actually 1972 when I was 17 years old that I decided I wanted to run in the race. You know, I guess you could say I was what they kind of call handed. You know, I learned my lesson though, and obviously never gone down that road again.
Of course.
I didn't make it. I got to the hills in Newton and dropped out and got taken to the Newton Wellesley Hospital in an ambulance. And, you know, I basically vowed to come back and do it again. And I came back in 73 and was able to successfully complete it. And said on that day I was going to run this race every year for the rest of my life. And here I am 42 years later and about to try to complete my 42nd in a row on April 21st.
So what kind of time did you run in 1973? What was the experience like for you that day?
Happened was I got really ill the day before, and I had the year before I told my grandfather that I was going to run in the race, and he was waiting for me at the 24-mile point, but I never made it. And he made a promise to me that if I trained, he'll be there the next year. So I said, okay, I'll train for it this time. And unfortunately, he passed away a couple of months later. Mm-hmm. So in 73, I was ready to go. I was fit, but like I said, I got sick the day before. And I was thinking of maybe not doing it, but I said I'd make this commitment. I'm going to go do it. I took off, and I got to about 21 and a half miles, and I was just toast, and I didn't feel I could continue, so I sort of dropped out the second time in a row, and sitting on the curb right after Boston College, and I realized I had been in that section of Boston only once before. I looked behind me, and what was behind me was a cemetery where they buried my grandfather, and there was the tombstone. He said he'd be there waiting for me. And
wow.
Even though he wasn't there physically, I felt he was there spiritually, and he kept his end of the bargain. I could pick myself up and cross the finish line in 4.5 hours. And that's why I made that commitment to run it every year ever since that first finish.
That's a great story.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So tell us how, so let's fast forward to you becoming the race director of the Boston Marathon. How did that come to fruition?
Well, in 1987, they had a wheelchair accident at the start where the chairs were going down the first hill. It was a rainy day, and one chair got caught. It just domino effect, and a lot of wheelchairs went sprawling all over the street. And then in that same year, they prematurely fired the gun. There were officials still in the way, and
Oh, man.
the rope that held the runners back was still in the way. So defending champion Rocky Feller actually went down and did a rollover. And so somebody at the Boston Athletic Association felt they needed to get another set of eyes and ears on this thing. So they put out a little ad or whatnot. We want to hire somebody to take a closer look at this. And I applied for the job and got it in 1988. And I had run it 15 years in a row, and I had a tough decision to make. Do I run in it or do I help run it? And it was a really tough decision because, I mean, just to run in the Boston Marathon is like what people would call a dream come true, never mind directing it.
Right.
So I just said, well, I might as well just take the job, and it happened. I took the job, and I remember everything went well that year. I was standing at the finish, and all of us were crossing the finish line, but I didn't feel well. I just felt something was missing here. So I tapped a state police trooper on the shoulders, and I asked him if he would drive me back out to the start. He said, "Why, did you forget something up there?" And I said, "Yeah, I forgot to run." So he says, "All right," drove me out. And at 8 o'clock at night I started, and I finished right around 11. And so I've been doing that for the last 26 years, running it after everyone else and dead last, which is okay. I mean, it's not about my name in a rec book or getting a certificate. It's about fulfilling a commitment and feeling that same sense of accomplishment that the 27 or 36,000 runners before me feel. Because I think, for me, I really want to think of myself more as an athlete than a race director, but so I'm trying to do both, and I have a motto, and my motto is my game, my rules. So I do it my way, and that works for me.
Now are the roads still, I'm curious about this because, that's an amazing thing for you to do after directing the race, probably getting very little sleep, all those. Are the roads still closed at 8 o'clock at night?
No, it's as if you're going out there any night of the week running it. Typically, my brother just follows me in his car, or not follows me, but leapfrogs me. I have 2 or 3 guys that run with me, and, we're out there on our own. And when I first started doing it, it really wasn't too pleasant of an experience because, you go to residential communities, and most of the people, not most, but some of the people who are out there watching are partying and, having a few beers along the way.
Patriots Day's the best.
I came through, they're a little bit inebriated.
Right.
And they're yelling and screaming things I can't repeat on this interview here, but hey, you slugs, why don't you pick it up? You opened 5 hours ago, and all that kind of. So they're just thinking that I started with everyone else. I'm just really slow, and they don't realize that I just directed the whole darn thing, and now I came back out. So, but now, 26 years later, a lot of people now do know who it is, and they'll even stay out on their decks or their porches and wait for me and beer me off and, give me water. Or I remember 2 years ago I was running, and 2 guys were sitting on their long chairs on the front yard and drinking a few beers, and one started yelling and screaming at me because he just didn't get it. The other guy gives him a big elbow and said, "Hey, leave him alone, that's the race director." So I felt vindicated, and said, okay, I've come of age in this thing now.
How many years into it was it?
What's that?
How many years did it take for that to happen?
Oh, yeah, 23, 24 years.
I love that persistence.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, Dave, I got along the lines of the race director questions. Does it ever occur? You're directing arguably the most prestigious marathon in the world right now. What does it mean to you to be the race director of the most prestigious marathon in the world?
Well, I mean, I'm certainly aware of that, but I try not to think about that too much and just think about the business at hand just focused on my job and putting on a road race. Yeah, it is special. It is different. The stakes are higher, and the bar is great. The standard is, you got to achieve the gold standard here. But when the rubber hits the road and when the boots are on the ground, you're putting on a road. Mm-hmm. And I've been doing it for a long time. I've directed over 1,000 races. I've seen almost everything there is to see in this industry from a management perspective. The greatest asset that the BAA, the Boston Athletic Association, has, it's its experience. I mean, I have an organizing committee where collectively there's over 2,000 years of experience involved with all these people. I mean, some of these people have been around since sand was discovered, so, you surround yourself with good people. I typically sort of compare myself to a conductor of an orchestra versus being a director per se, because the idea is to, accumulate and to sort of get a great team together, almost like musicians. They know their instrument really well. They know their discipline, their role really well. And it's my job to sort of keep it all together and communicate to each of them and have them all get along and put on a great show. And for me, it's worked pretty well for the last 26 years.
Yeah.
Certainly, you've been doing that for a long time, but I don't think any scenario you could have imagined could have prepared you for what happened last year in 2013.
No, I mean, regularly we go through the hypothetical tabletop exercises. The interesting thing about directing something like Boston, directing something for the time, new event, with Boston, it doesn't change much. Same course, same kind of concept, same field size. So it's a little bit of sort of add water, you got soup to it. I mean, it's a lot of work, but a lot of it doesn't change. So what that affords you the opportunity to do is take pieces of it and put it under a microscope and really refine areas of event management that other directors or other events don't have the luxury of being able to do because they're still doing the basics.
Right.
So that allows us to really over-prepare and to think about plan B and C and D and spend a lot of time on contingency planning. So we do a lot of that, and we did a lot of, if lightning storm came along or if the buses get caught in an accident or traffic jam and we didn't get everyone at the start on time, how long can we delay it? And if there's an emergency along the course, if Mother Nature really goes crazy on us after the gunfires, what do we do with thousands of people on the course? And we've identified these shelter locations along the course. So we're doing all those kinds of things.
Right.
And so, was there a playbook that if a bomb went off, that's exactly what we would do? Of course not. But I think our level of preparedness, just in general, is what saved us. When you're prepared, you're confident. When you're confident, you can make decisions and not stutter. And when you're confident, it's infectious. Other people around you become confident, and they can make important decisions on the spot, too. So event management turns into crisis management, and you can't panic. You have to maintain your composure. You have to think on your feet. And that we did all last year. And, we minimized, the amount of damage, if you will, the amount of people who truly got hurt, the amount of people who died. The silver lining, if there is such a thing, was where the explosions occurred. I mean, what are the chances something like that would happen where there's a medical facility a couple of 100 yards away with 1,000 medical personnel in it to respond? Mm-hmm. And the day was such a good day weather-wise that we didn't have a lot of medical casualties in that test. So these people were just standing around, not with a lot of things to do. And then when the explosions occurred, they were able to respond immediately, and they saved lives. So,
Yeah, I was.
you know, a lot of lessons learned, but I think what we did and how we did it, you know, I think our fairness put us in that position.
Yeah, I was actually one of the runners, and I was impressed with how orderly it was. It was unbelievably well ordered. I was out of the finishing chute, but just like the whole city there was this just unbelievable sense of order, but also fear. It was interesting. There was a very strange dichotomy with people being afraid, but also being respectful and courteous, and but also unbelievably not sure what was going to happen next. So it was impressive just to see how well you guys had prepared and how well it was executed.
And Dave, if you could talk, I mean, and I was there too. I was in the Lenox Hotel, and just leaving at the time. And what struck me was the community of runners and how everybody rallied. Can you talk about maybe your experience with that and how strongly you feel about, you know, the Boston Marathon running community and just the community of runners in general?
On the one fund too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew that, you know, the connection between events and runners in general and the solidarity of their commitment to health and fitness and their level of endurance and resilience was always there. But it really showed right after the marathon bombing, where so many people from around the region, the country, the world responded, and they needed to, they wanted to be part of the healing process, the recovery process. They wanted to play a role, and it's not to help us, to help themselves. You know, try to find some answers and try to get through this. Sometimes the toughest part about, you know, dealing with something like this is so many people want to help. And in order for them to help you, you have to help them help you. Mm-hmm. And it was the volume of that was so overwhelming that, you know, even today, so many people want to be involved in the event, and there's only so many resources and so much space to deal with. So that's been the toughest part, is just how do you cope with it all? How do you deal with it all? You know, and since last April, we've gone through what I call 3 phases. The first phase was recovery. So it took a couple of months, 2-3 months, just to kind of sort this all out, process it, emotionally deal with it, you know, respond to our constituency, the runners who were stopped in particular, to deal with the victims and the survivors and all of that. So that took some time and processing. And then once we got through that, then the reality of, next year, 2014, what are we going to do?
Right.
And all the ideas and recommendations and the suggestions. I mean, God bless everyone for coming up with the way they think this thing should play out.
Right.
So we had to take that all in and sift through all that over a period of a few months. Finally, we sort of come up with a little bit of a plan as to what we thought 2014 should look like. And as you all know, we increased the field size, another wave of 1,000 and so forth. So we got through that, and then we said, oh my goodness, we only have 4 months left to execute this thing.
Right.
And that's, you know, we're still in that phase, if you will, and that's become really daunting because of the extra amount of people and just all the tension, and then obviously the enhanced level of security is, you know, it's something that we have to, you know, deal with too, and it's certainly been a challenge in the last 3-4 months trying to figure this all out.
Yeah, I saw you guys had a virtual app too that you could do a run anywhere for.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So that people that couldn't be there physically could be able to participate. Is that?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, something like a marathon or even, an indoor, but not to the capacity, and, we reached our capacity, but there's a lot of people around the world who still want to participate at some level, so we created this app where they could effectively participate in the Boston Marathon but not physically be there and get the benefit of that. And so we hope that catches on and a lot of people get satisfied at least by being able to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a really neat concept.
So 2014, it's been a blitz of, you got 4 months to plan this thing, and it's going to be one of the biggest, events in running racing history. I don't want to overstate it, but you guys it was world headlines in 2013. Is there anything, can you pull back the curtain and let us know anything that we can look forward to? Is it going to be just more the same great event that it usually is, or is there anything different in 2014?
Well, again, that was in that conceptualization phase. We're trying to figure it all out for ourselves. But the 1 year anniversary is on April 15, 2014, which is a Tuesday before the marathon, like almost a week before the way the calendar plays out this year.
Yep.
So we're going to do a tribute event where at the Heinz Auditorium we'll invite about 2,500 special guests, both from the One Fund and dignitaries and, just family and friends of survivors and all that. And we'll go through a celebration and a remembrance. And then they'll all walk down Boylston Street towards the finish line. The finish line is going to be all set up a week in advance. We've never done that before. And we'll light it all up every night. We'll raise the flag on that day. And just to sort of almost like in the Olympic spirit that let the games begin. I mean, we're back. We will not be denied. We're resilient. So we're trying to remember, we want to pay appropriate tribute, but we also want to move on.
Right.
We need to get beyond this. And so once we go through that, we feel like, okay, now let's get back to being about the Boston Marathon. Now on Saturday, because Sunday's Easter Sunday, on Saturday we're going to have a 5K race. There'll be 10,000 people in that.
Wow.
And then we're doing a 1 mile run just for the survivors and the victims, their family and friends. We expect a couple thousand people. That'll certainly be emotional because it's going to be all the survivors for the first time participating in a BAA event. That's what we do. And they'll finish right there across the finish line where it all happened. And I'm sure it'll be very emotional, but I think they want to do this. They want to come back, and they want to, again, not be denied. So, and then we have a few other running events right after that. And that's Saturday. And we get to Patriots Day, Marathon Monday, and our intent is, for the most part, is to get back to business. The Boston Marathon is about the pursuit of athletic excellence, and we want to do the best we can as a organization to focus on the race again. Got us where we are today. We want the runners to know we're here for them. So everything that goes on between the curves, that's what we're going to focus on. But I can only imagine, guys, what's going to happen outside those curves.
Right.
I mean, the spectators, the media, there's going to be so many individual tributes and special moments along the 26.2 that none of us even know were going to happen right now. But they're going to happen. And they're going to be special. And they're going to be historic. So we're going to allow the citizenry to kind of play that all out. Let them be creative. Let them heal. Let them pay tribute while we put on the road race in the spine of all of this. So I think the whole thing is going to be really extraordinary.
So you're going to allow the elites to run with cameras?
Yeah. Well, again, that's what's going to be interesting. As you saw with the dirty. It's unfortunate. It's sad that it has to be this way, but it does for this year. So unfortunately for some runners, they may feel like they're being inconvenienced a little bit, no bags being transported, things of that nature. But I think if you step back and you understand, look, at bombs went off. I mean, hypothetical is no longer hypothetical. It's real. It happened.
No,
So
exactly.
we really have to be careful, and we have to just make sure the number one priority is everyone's safety. And, beyond that, we got a road race to put on.
Wow, well, you got three guys with you just got
Yeah.
chills. We got goosebumps here, Dave. That was very inspiring, and I'm sure April 21st is going to be a very inspiring day for many people across the country and the world. Seriously.
Yeah, the entire nation is looking forward to this day, and in particular,
the world.
in the world, really. Yeah.
I mean,
And-
this is a global event. Have you noticed a lot of support from the other marathon majors? I'm sure that they've probably been super supportive. Are they going to be there too, probably, or?
Well, yeah, of course they all the World Marathon major representatives will be here. Mary Wittenberg from the New York City Marathon is actually running in the race.
Great, yeah,
but
she's
no.
awesome, yeah. I hope I get to see her at the start, if not somewhere else.
Yeah, she just emailed me today, and I was asking what she thought she was going to run and stuff. But right after last year's race, I mean, it's pretty amazing all the posters and the banners signed by runners and their races, and just all the memorabilia, and just it was amazing. We hung it all up in our office. It looked like an elementary school with all these different banners and posters and cards and letters, and so I mean, again, this isn't just the Boston race; it's the country's race. I mean, this is for everybody, not just for us.
Hey, Dave, I know Mike's going to be up there running it. I know Chris and I will be back here.
Chris might run too, man.
Chris might run.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at the Lenox Hotel, so I might just get inspired to jump in. As long as the race director banded it one time. So
Yeah,
I guess,
no bandits.
I guess it's not a terrible thing to do. No, but no, it is going to be. I'll be there, definitely there.
So they'll be all up there. If you're not running in this race, though, is there an opportunity for the folks out there where they can see the race coverage on TV?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be more media coverage for this event than probably any other sporting event, including the Super Bowl.
Wow.
In the history of mankind. I mean, they're all coming.
Yeah.
They're all
Excellent.
coming.
Excellent. It's going to be super special. Thank you for spending the time with us.
Yeah. That was
Yeah, guys. Look forward to seeing you when you get here in a few weeks.
absolutely.
All right, I might take you up on that offer someday about running back.
Real quick, Dave, were you were not able to run back last year? Is that correct?
I was out at the start, and then I got the phone call saying there was explosions. I just about ready to begin, and so I went back to work. But
Right.
then once all the funerals were over,
Yeah.
the Fed gave Boylston Street back to the city. I went back out 11 days later and did it.
Wow.
Good for you. Yeah.
That's inspiring. All right, well, thank you. That's Dave McGillivray. He's the Boston Marathon race director. The race is April 21st.
It's going to be on Universal Sports.
Universal Sports, and
Yeah.
you can find it anywhere, like you said. Thanks for joining us, Dave. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
guys. All right.
All right,
Thank
take
you
care.
very
See you,
much.
Dave. See you in a couple weeks.
You.
Yep.
Wow, well, that was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we were.
I know we went a little over here, but this was a great interview, and that was
Yeah,
awesome.
he was
Great job.
He was a pro.
Yeah.
It was well worth it, despite the alarms going off. That was just a fire alarm here on the TV station. Everything is fine, I promise. No problems there. But you guys will be ready to get rock and roll up there in Boston in a couple weeks.
I know, I got
It's
my
gonna
shirt on
It's gonna be a
right
pretty
now.
special, pretty special day for the entire world, like Mike was saying.
Yeah. There it
And
is.
he's sporting the Boston Gold.
Yep.
2013. All right, folks. Well, listen. Thanks to Steve Mullen for directing. Thanks to Frank Fiumic for helping us facilitate this interview with Dave. It was great to have Dave on the show, and hopefully he has a great race. Hopefully you have a great race up there, Mike.
Yeah.
And Chris, a good weekend up there in Boston as well. I wish I was up there with you guys. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks, and we'll see all you guys next time on Gotta Get Running. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks.